Hey guys, Brain Freeze Laser here, and Happy New Year! This is the first video of January 2013 on my channel. It's a little early in the morning, but basically this is about normally the time that I make my videos, or earlier in the day, and then I post them around the afternoon. But anyways, the topic I want to talk about today, as I've stated that I wanted to talk about before, was the secondary market. And basically this is where all the cards come from that aren't new, that aren't in great demand, or are in great demand that aren't from packs or decks or tins or whatever. So the way that the secondary market works is, as I'm sure most of you know, is supply and demand. A card will be in great supply if it is in great demand, and it'll be in a lesser supply if it is in a lesser demand. So basically, if a card is popular, if a card is needed, if a card is rare and sought after, it will cost more likely than not, and vice versa. So if it's not really looked for, if it's not very readily, or if it's very readily available, if whatever it is just isn't very good, then it'll cost less. And basically, let's just use Dark Armed Dragon as an example from the Teledad format. You needed 3 Dark Armed Dragons. Dark Armed Dragon was a secret rare. It was only available from one set at the time. The deck was top tier. It was tier 0 essentially, and the card went for $150 a pop, basically. So your deck was going to be over $300, minimum, basically, if you were running 3 DATs. And then you would run, D draws and maliciouses and any number of other things. An extensive amount of synchros in your extra deck, mind controls if you can get your hands on them. So basically, what dictates something being expensive is, like I said, rarity, availability, demand, which is also goes hand in hand with popularity, and you know, needing it, essentially, for lack of a better word. I had the word on my head, but I can't remember. Anyway, so how can you combat this? You really can't, to be honest. You can't really combat it unless you're just so in the know and so just like you know how to read the meta really well, predict the meta, anticipate what will be needed for a set, what will make a deck really good, just all of them, all the cards, just not just like the ones that are obvious, but even secret tech, or just really cool old cards or whatever that people just don't see the uses for at the time. Just gather them up and then hoard them until they become available. Another thing that really dictates whether something is going to be expensive or not is, the ban list. If the ban list hits something down to 1, it usually goes down in price. And then if it goes back up again, it usually raises in price. So, there you go. That's another couple other things. But how could you really affect the secondary market? Well, the major, point that affects the secondary market is demand. Demand for a card. And probably the second most is rarity and availability. Kind of like the same thing. So if the card is readily available, if it's in high production or printing, then it probably won't cost as much. If you can get it from this special edition, this deck, this tin, this pack, and this pack, then it will probably cost a lot less. Unless the first pack it's from is really old, as was the case with Mirror Force most of the time, or other packs like that. Not cards, I mean. So if really the only way that you can affect the secondary market is not wanting a card, even if it's needed, even if it's popular, even if, whatever but you would have to be able to effectively stop sales of that card on such a huge level that it would just become worthless, essentially. Like people don't buy it. I don't know why people just stopped buying it. Whatever X card is. We can say right now probably, I don't even know. let's just say, for the sake of argument, it would be an Exceed of some sort, like Big Eye or Photon Strike Bouncer until it comes is reprinted. They're secret rares. That's the only way you can get them. They're about 20 to 30, 20 to 40 each. Will vary for each card, and they're going to be that way until they become reprinted. So I'm assuming a Photon Strike Bouncer will probably go down to about 5 to 6, assuming, and then go back up once the 10 prints are done or whatever. But people want those cards. People want those cards. They're popular cards. Photon Strike Bouncer is really cool. He has a good effect, and he's not very readily available. He's only from that set. And then let's say if they didn't print that particular reprint of him, he probably would have went up in price, assuming that there wasn't a reprint anytime soon. And he was only available from, I think he's from Order of Chaos. But that's basically how the secondary market works. It's rarity, availability, demand, and necessity. So if you can bring all those down, then you can bring down the price of a card. But that is, like I said, easier said than done. You can't always change everybody's opinion on a card all the time. You would have to do it in such a massive amount that the card would just become useless. So basically, let's just say Mermantians. Mermantians needs Magalo, or Mermantians needs Undyne, or whatever. So you would have to make those cards just brutally unpopular, and that's a really hard trick to pull off because they're such staple cards in the set or the deck that somebody would look at you crazy and be like, "Are you an idiot? Like, why would I not play with these cards?" So it's kind of like a paradox. Like they're expensive because they're good, and they're good because they're expensive. Type of thing. And it's basically my explanation of the secondary market. This might not be news to any of you, and it might be news to some of you, and whatever. I just think that this information should be out there as to why things cost so much. Yeah, and basically, if you didn't understand, why is this $100? Why is this $150? Why is this $300? Why is this $5? What's the difference? I don't understand. It's the same card, but it does the same thing. And, if you're happy with the $5 version of the card, that's cool. I really like commons. I used to like holos a lot. I really like commons now and rares. Commons and rares, I think they're cool. I don't know. It's just my preference. Yeah, that's about it for this video. So if you found this information helpful, you hit the like button and subscribe button to see when I put out videos like this and other videos. And basically just, spread the word about this video to other people. Share this information with people you think might not know about the secondary market and things like that. And thanks for watching.